Cory bought a huge piece of land 35 years ago. It was a rocky piece of landscape that nobody wanted. He had built a house on it and lived there with his family, but the land was so big Cory never explored every part of it. For a year now, he's been exploring his own land and he has found multiple bizarre things. But this day, Cory found something that shocked him to his core. It looked like military equipment. What was this doing here, and for how long was it laying here already? Then he thought of his old friend, who was a general now. Cory called his old friend and explained what he found. The general's reaction was shocking. "Cory, move away as quietly as possible. You were never supposed to find this." Cory still had a hard time believing that he had in fact been targeting with this military weapon and that he had just been incredible, luckily that the weapon had malfunctioned on impact. Otherwise, he probably would not have been here anymore. He had never expected this, but when he discovered who was actually responsible for sending the weapon his way, he could not say that he was entirely surprised. He was clearly in danger, but it was also obvious that he could not deal with this threat alone. When the U.S. military heard about his find, they wasted no time in taking action. With the weapon still intact, they finally had the proof they needed. But who targeted Farmer Cory with the military weapon? How had it ended up on his land, and what was the U.S. military going to do? Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. When Farmer Cory was plowing his fields, he noticed something in the distance he had never seen before. He saw a big piece of green metal sticking out from the ground. Cory headed over to see what it was, but as he got closer, he realized it wasn't just a loose piece of metal lying around. It was a big metal capsule filled with little dark green balls. Cory was unsure about what the balls could be, but when he crouched down to pick one up, he quickly realized it was something very dangerous. The capsule was filled with hand grenades. There were probably 50 of them, all piled up and ready to explode. Cory pulled his hand back and took a few steps backward. Unsure what to do next, he carefully walked back to the capsule and looked if the pins were still intact. To his relief, he saw that the pins were still in place, so he knew that the grenades were safe for the time being. He wondered why this capsule suddenly lay in his field. He had never seen it before, so maybe someone had dumped it there recently. Or could it have been there for a long time? Cory could not be sure. But then he noticed something. In the corner of the capsule was something engraved. It was very hard to read, as the rust had grown over it, but Cory could make out 2 letters and a few numbers. He ran inside to get a notepad and wrote everything down. JG3 3 29 9 95 5.2 3 9. Cory looked at the numbers but had no idea what they could be. He put his tractor back in the bar, tied a string around the capsule so he would always be able to see where it was, and went inside his farm. He thought about calling the police, but Cory had always loved going on adventures or solving difficult riddles. And he also didn't want the bomb squad involved. They would take over his farm and probably destroy his crops with their cars while they removed the capsule. No, Cory definitely didn't want that, so there was only one thing he could do: solve this mystery on his own, no matter how dangerous it could get. Suddenly it dawned on Cory, this might be a dangerous mission. The grenades might still be active, so he couldn't take one with him, and maybe the owner doesn't want to be found? Cory sighed. Should he do this? But then he got himself together and sat up straight in his chair. I'm going to do this. He went back outside to the capsule and took a few photos of it. He made sure to really capture every detail so he could zoom in if he needed. When he felt he had enough, he went back inside and typed the initials into his computer. He hoped to find at least a name, but sadly, nothing came up. Cory couldn't shake the excited feeling he got from this sudden mystery. He loved his life as a farmer, but it wasn't as thrilling as he'd like. This mystery gave him a purpose. He sat at his kitchen table, studying the numbers he'd found. He tried calling them, hoping they were part of a phone number, but nothing worked. Some digits were missing too, since he had only written down what he saw at first glance. So he opened one of the photos and zoomed in. With the enlarged image, he identified a few more numbers plus 2 letters, an N in the middle and a W at the end. That was when it clicked. They weren't random letters, they were coordinates. When he typed the full coordinates into Google, he was surprised. They led to a remote forest in Utah. He filled the gas tank of his old pickup, packed food and drinks, and brought a map and compass in case the GPS failed. The drive was long and monotonous. After several hours, he reached the coordinates, finding himself surrounded by forest with no clear path ahead. He parked the truck, put on his hiking boots, and headed out on foot. Following the compass, Cory trekked deeper into the trees. As he continued, subtle signs of human presence appeared: rusty cans, broken bottles, old fire pits, and empty bullet casings. After hours of hiking, Cory reached a clearing. where a structure stood nearly swallowed by nature. It was an old, abandoned bunker. Its door surprisingly opened with ease, releasing a wave of musty, humid air. Inside, the bunker was dark and dusty, but his flashlight cut through the shadows. Then he noticed something more personal, a pile of belongings left behind by soldiers, notebooks, photographs, and handwritten letters. As he sifted through them, imagining their lives, a folded paper slipped out and fell to the floor. It was a map. The paper showed the bunker, a nearby river, and a bold red X marking something nearby. He stepped outside, called his wife to explain he'd be home late, and then studied the map closely. Unable to decipher the X, he decided to follow the map itself. He grabbed his compass and the map he'd brought from home, checked the route, and headed back into the forest. He walked along the riverbank, expecting to find a bridge, just as the old map showed. But no matter how hard he searched, nothing appeared. Only when he examined the riverbanks more closely did he see the remains of a structure on both sides. The bridge had once been there, but it had collapsed long ago. The realization troubled him. The map was older than he thought, and his route was now cut off. The river wasn't wide, but the current moved quickly. He considered crossing, but he wasn't confident in his swimming ability. He had only swum a few times in his life, and never alone. The fast-moving water made the idea even more dangerous. Cory preferred finding a safe way to reach the other side of the river without relying on the swimming lessons he barely remembered from childhood, so he began looking for an alternative. Fortunately, several large fallen branches lay nearby, and he immediately saw their potential. After some effort, he managed to build a makeshift bridge. He tested it carefully, wanting to ensure it could hold his weight and withstand the steady current. Oh, Cory nearly slipped, but he jumped forward just in time, landing on the riverbed. His shoes and trousers were drenched, but he had made it across. He took a moment to breathe, then smiled. The day felt like a full-on treasure hunt, and overcoming his first obstacle only energized him more. He checked the map and continued forward, though the path quickly grew faint again. The forest thickened, forcing him to push through dense bushes and uneven ground. Cory wasn't certain he was following the correct direction, but soon he stepped into an unexpectedly open clearing. He checked the map and froze. According to it, he had reached the spot marked with the red X. Excitement surged through him. He had no idea what he was supposed to find, but this was the exact location. He searched the area for anything unusual, scanning the ground and surrounding trees. After an hour of searching with no results, frustration crept in. Why would a map mark this spot if nothing was here? Then something on the map caught his eye, a faint triangle next to the X. He had ignored it earlier as a smudge, but now it was clear. This triangle had to mean something. With time running short, he scanned the clearing again, looking specifically for anything triangular. Of course, nature rarely formed perfect triangles, and nothing obvious appeared. But then he noticed a large rock standing out against the greenery. When he examined the area more closely, he spotted two smaller rocks nearby. Together, they formed a triangle just like on the map. His heart raced. If the triangle was correct, then the X must be at its center. He paced the distance between the rocks, measured the center by foot, and chose the most likely spot. Dropping to his knees, he began digging with his bare hands. He hadn't brought a shovel, not knowing he'd need one, but he tore through the grass and soil as quickly as he could. Soon, his fingers hit something solid. He brushed away the dirt and uncovered a box. The map had been real. Cory dug faster, freed the container, and held it in his hands with growing anticipation. He set it on the ground and slowly lifted the lid. Inside were personal belongings, photos, letters, and a journal. They belonged to one of the soldiers who had lived in the bunker. Cory wanted to read everything immediately, but daylight was fading, so he gathered the box and began his return journey. When he reached the river, he restored his makeshift bridge and crossed without trouble. From there, he walked straight to his truck and drove home as the sky darkened. Exhausted, he arrived home intending to read the journal the next day, but curiosity won. He spent the night reading the letters and the soldiers' detailed accounts from the war. By morning, Cory felt as though he had come to know the man personally, someone with the initials J.G., the same letters that had been inscribed on the capsule buried on his property. Realizing the connection, Cory contacted the local authorities to help locate J.G.'s family. To his surprise, they found them. J.G. had gone missing during the war, and his relatives were overjoyed to recover his belongings. They thanked Cory deeply, and the two families soon became close. That same day, authorities removed the mysterious capsule from Cory's garden. Cory was grateful for the entire adventure. He had never imagined that exploring his own land would uncover a soldier's story, reconnect a family, and change his life in such an unexpected way.